Hey everyone, welcome to Mastering Machines, where we discover tomorrow's reality. On the record that I was pretty early with Kimi as a model. I've been using it for months now, and I've been kind of praising it for these months. But Kimi K3 is the newest iteration in its line of models. And Kimi K3 is intended to compete with the frontier lab models like OpenAI and Anthropic, Opus, or, Soul, which is ChatGPT's new model. The model is 2.8 trillion parameters, and it's open model and built for long horizon coding. It's really known for like its knowledge work and reasoning, and it's gotten really good at doing visual tasks. Here are 5 interesting features regarding Kimi K3. First of all is the fact that it is a 2.8 trillion parameter open model. So let's start with that. Its parameters are not intelligence in a simple one-to-one sense. They are more adjustable connections inside the model. So they're part of the machinery that allows it to recognize different patterns, write code, interpret different languages, and also connect ideas and bring them around. But the scale does matter. And the important phrase here that you hear associated with Kimi K3 is open weight. And that doesn't not automatically mean anyone can cheaply run it on a laptop. It's kind of quite the opposite, especially with this model. But a model this large needs serious infrastructure, but it can give researchers, companies, and developers more ability to inspect, adapt, and deploy the model than they would have with a fully closed system. So they have more flexibility when it comes to it. And even the BBC reported that Moonshot's open approach could enable global users to modify the system for advanced reasoning and complex software development work. So I think this is a really big jump because now you see large companies really considering using open Chinese models for their infrastructure. It's funny, I used to remember thinking about when this would happen, but now it's happening on a weekly basis, and that this model is a 1 million token context window. So this will allow it to deal with more information within its, designated window. Because remember, a token is a chunk of text or data that an AI model processes. For perspective, 1 million tokens can hold an enormous amount of material. Long technical documentation, even a large code base, stacks of meeting notes, contracts, research papers, or even a second brain for a company's knowledge base. But why does that matter? It's because most AI failures are not always about the raw intelligence. Sometimes it's the fact that the model simply does not have the full story and loses context. It sees one document, but then it's missing the email thread of the context. It gets one file, but not the code that depends on it. It summarizes a report, but it starts to lose the footnotes that change the conclusion of that particular report. So when you have a larger context window, it creates the possibility of asking better questions and also getting better answers. So this is where the human review and human in the loop part comes because you can't eliminate that. 1 million token context window means the model can read more at once, but not every conclusion it reaches is automatically correct. So that's where you need to have a human in the loop. But for research, due diligence, software development, internal knowledge work, the difference could be really substantial on whether it's correct or not with its conclusion. So always have that human in the loop to judge that. Feature 3, it has native visual understanding, which is great because it is really good at multimodality, which is visual understanding, having all those different kind of understandings of the world as far as how it comprehends information. And with these native vision capabilities, meaning it can work with images as part of its reasoning process. So rather than treating visuals as an awkward add on, it really allows it to be embedded in the model. So you're already in there from the jump and it already has that. And instead of having to add that via a skill or have it worked in, it's already built into the model. Like imagine an engineer reviewing a chart or a hardware diagram, or some marketeer, analyzing some marketing automation flow. it will be able to understand that instead of having you to explain the concepts, you can give it a workflow or a flow chart or some type of, data visualization, and it'll be able to understand it, and it'll be a way of you communicating with it or possibly getting a certain type of output. Feature 4 is the long horizon coding, and this is what Kimi has really built its money on, is the fact that it's using long horizon coding and agentic style workflows to really build out their coding agents and how they deal with code and build products. There's a major difference between asking an AI to write a function and asking it to help complete a complicated engineering assignment. Two things are very different. They're on opposite ends of the spectrum. One is real world, the other one is kind of theory. For example, like creating a login form, it would need to inspect the repository, debug it, see all the relevant files, and then build it out and then resolve it. And I think a lot of that has to do with its long horizon coding being able to do that effectively and understand every aspect of it. And remember that these long running AI agents can make mistakes, but if you have a harness around them or build some type of framework, whether it be like skills or any type of, soul.md file that you have associated with it, you can really build it out and have it craft around what you know in your product or code base or even your company. And the long horizon coding and agentic frameworks really allow it to do that twice as fast and even build it out without necessarily as many humans as you needed before. So it's really interesting to see how good the model has gotten with that. And then the last feature here regarding Kimi K3 that I think is important is that it's an efficiency focused architecture. So Kimi K3 uses a mixture of experts model. And with that, it's rather than activating every part of the model for each particular task, it funnels that particular question to the best or a smaller subset of a model that can answer it without using the most usage or using the most compute, which allows it to really be efficient. So instead of like calling your entire company for a meeting, you just call that marketing person or call that particular UX person. It it specifies in the different models that it's going to send information to so it can answer or synthesize an answer from your data. But I just want to let it be known that this is really one of the standout models that I've seen in quite some time. I think it's only a matter of time before we start seeing Chinese open source models actually break the barrier and be better than the closed source models such as Anthropic and OpenAI. I think that's only a matter of time. The shift is actually already happening, and it's happening in real time. And you see that these models are more efficient, costly, and they're good. They're enough quality wise that companies will want to use them. And something to remember is that the question is no longer going to be about whether an AI writes the best answer. The question is going to change to which AI can stay useful when the work gets complicated. This has been Mastering Machines, where we discover tomorrow's reality.